Hey, another chance to come up with an idea or a design. I want to talk about ideas and maybe a little bit of what you need to think about. Because you've heard of the starving artist. Well, maybe they wouldn't have to all be starving, except that the personality of a person like that, an artist, is not usually too good at business ends of things. And I'll tell you too that engineers are not known to make real good businessmen either. They'll spend money much quicker than we'll say a management person, a person that's been raised to make money, a person who likes money. An engineer, if the money gets in the way all the time of them coming up with bigger and better ideas. So, when they get in a position of power, we'll say they're known for spending more. I'm like that. I certainly, especially in the very beginning, if I get into a management position, you'll see that money flows fairly easily. If anybody ever would watch me, they would find out, though, that things tighten up pretty quick, but that's neither here nor there because no one ever gave me a long enough run to see that. So when you come up with an idea, what are you doing with it? You've got this thing that you're thinking will revolutionize the world, or will be so beautiful that it'll take people's breath away. And that's great. Why are you doing it? Now, let's not get into too deep, of ideas and all. Let's just think about this. Am I doing this to help provide for my family? Is this something that I do on the side? Do I already have a job that pays the bills? Am I trying to help my company? Am I trying to make things look nicer and people to feel better about themselves? Am I trying to invoke thoughts and ideas into other people? Why am I doing this? And if it can be as simple as I just like it. It just is something that I feel like doing. And I've done many things that way. And I'm going to show you an example of one that it potentially could have made me a couple dollars, but I didn't. I never looked at it that way. So that's fine. Now, if you're a guy like I was back then and had this family and 3 children and all, I can't just go out and do anything I want. I mean, I can, I guess, but at what cost to my family? So I had to weigh ideas out that I came up with as to whether I would, you might say, invest in them, or whether they were just something that I could play with, that it didn't hurt the family, whatever. But I also had to say, you know what? Work comes first, play comes second. Now, I can't say that I did that all the time. I mean, I was irresponsible. I was more childish than I am now, you know, but I had to learn that. And unfortunately, a lot of times I did things not hoping to make big money, but I hoped that it would lead into making money elsewhere, which is another thing that, what are the chances that it really will happen, that it'll lead into something else? The things that I spent money on to patent, maybe I could have convinced myself not to do it, not to patent it, had I known more about the facts of, first off, how much a patent costs. Second, that most patents never even see daylight. They're never even built or, you know, brought to market. And then, of course, out of all the patents that get to market, you know, even those, only a few of them really make money. And I mean, less than 10% ever even get to market. So, and then to consider making money on top of that doesn't look good. And a lot of times the person who actually invented it doesn't make the money. So, you know, all they can say is their name's on the patent, which is all I can basically say with my patents. My name's on them. Big deal. So now let's show you what I got going on here. I was taking an art class, and for a project, the teacher, well, the professor, if you will, I mean, this is a college accredited art course, Carroll Community College. I was challenged, or we were challenged, to each design a sculpture to go out front of the main building. Now, out front was a circular walkway, and in the center it was grass and bushes and all that. So in that middle, they were suggesting that you come up with something to put there, you know. As I was thinking about it, I thought, well, I can come up with some kind of, you know, sculpture, probably a geometric shape thing, or I can maybe come up with something that's like a sculpture that maybe can be used for other sculptures to sit on. So I started playing with this idea, and I liked it so much that I just ran with it and did far more than what was meant to in the class. First, I'll show it to you, and then I'll tell you some of the extra stuff that I did. So now, if you see that metal framework that's going over those, we'll call them geometric arches, pyramid-like arches. They have that appearance of the building itself. And in the center there you see bushes and all, which is where you were supposed to build your sculpture. So I actually ended up making a pad there on top of my framework on my geometric sculpture to be able to put a sculpture. And if you look out on the outside, you can see 2 more of those pads for other sculptures or displays of any type. I mean, even as long as it's not raining out, you could put artwork out there. You can see that it was a pretty interesting idea, and it complemented the building. Notice that it's not symmetrical in some ways because it doesn't have, it's not positioned at exact degrees of the circle. So that was another little bit of an idea of mine to help show things off and to give it more display, more appearance, because when you're looking at it straight on, if you would have it completely symmetrical side, you know, in as far as I said degrees of the circle, one arch, one rectangular arch would be directly in front of the other. This way the two in the front have a little bit different appearance and overlap the others. Now, I like this idea so much that I actually thought that I would build it if I could. And I wanted to present the idea in a much better fashion than just a drawing, which that's what we were supposed to do, is a drawing. Okay? But I went ahead and made a 3D type image of it. Now the front of the building was basically flat, but I used heavy cardboard and built it up to give it depth and things like that. And then I finished the front off, well, like you would do a train garden. And so I had bushes that I used from my train garden and things like that, and glued them down. And then I went out and I bought balsa wood, and I could get it with that very same framework, or that same shape, rectangular shape, as the frame for the sculpture. And so I cut it all out, glued it together, made my shapes, had my little pads for my artwork, and then I gave my children some clay and told them to make some objects. And so they made some objects and I put them on there. Painted it all up and then brought that into college as well for them to see. It almost got built. The art teacher loved it, and he actually went before the college board, whatever you call it, to, you know, shoot an idea out to him. I really loved it because even though I had a sculpture that I liked, I wasn't just focusing on me. From years, you know, for years on after that, they would be able to use that sculpture, that framework, to display more artwork. And that's what I liked about it, and I thought it would challenge, it would even create a tradition of creating sculptures. So, you know, every year we'll say that there would be some kind of a contest to come up with sculptures, and then the top sculptures would be built and displayed out there. I really liked the idea of that, because I couldn't see building something just for myself. And that's one of the things when I talk about when you have an idea, what are you doing it for? I'm not very good at doing things for myself. So this one was going to be something that I thought would really, I would brag about it, no doubt, because I'm not even just building a sculpture, I'm thinking of other people as well. Look at me, how considerate I am of others. I would have basked in the glow of the project, there's no doubt. But it didn't happen. But I still think it was a great idea. And I think the teacher, I appreciate the fact that he, pursued it. It was a lot of fun. And like I said, in that case, I decided to do the 3D, and I did it because I just wanted the enjoyment of putting it together and seeing it more realistically than what a drawing could do. So there's another one of my ideas, and something you might want to consider when you're coming up with ideas. I'll see you on the next one.